Welcome in. It's a brand new episode of the RSL Show. I'm Alex. He's Josh. And we're here to break down the saddening result at the Colorado Rapids. Josh?
Saddening or maddening?
It could be a little bit of both.
It's definitely both, but I'm leaning a little more towards maddening.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we'll talk about it, but there's also good news to be talked about in a new signing for Real Salt Lake in Lachlan Brooks. And we'll get to Lachlan and kind of break down our thoughts on him. But first, we'll dive deep into the Colorado match. RSL falls on the road to the Colorado Rapids. 3-2 the final score. 2 goals from Andres Gomez, 1 from Jonathan Lewis, 1 from Sam Bynes, and 1 from Cole Bassett off the PK. I'm sure Josh will have a lot of words to say about the penalty. But most importantly, Rocky Mountain Cup no longer in possession of Real Salt Lake.
It's fine. They can have it for a few weeks, I guess a few months, but this is the only bright side to this loss for me, right? Now we have to win it back, so we kind of care. When you always have it, it's not that big of a deal, but when you lose it, you're pissed off and you want it back. So
that's true.
Maybe this brings some new life into this rivalry.
Do you remember last episode where I said that this was their Super Bowl?
Yeah, and they acted like it, that's for sure.
The way they celebrated this win, man.
Isn't it kind of pathetic?
Yeah, it was kind of sad, honestly.
Like, I might celebrate that hard as well, when we get it back. Actually, I won't. I'll celebrate, but not like that. That was weird, man. That was weird. But good for them. Let them have their little victory. I hope we see them in the playoffs and take care of business there.
I think we will. I think with the way things are shaping up, it's looking like that we'll cross paths again.
Yeah, because to be completely honest, I know they've beaten us twice this year, neither of which were a good victory, right? And we've come from behind and beaten them. So, yeah, I like my odds against Colorado in the playoffs. Will I be nervous? Do I want to lose to Colorado in the playoffs? No, but I like our odds.
Look, man, I don't want to make excuses, but if you look back at that March loss to Colorado, it wasn't a full strength Real Salt Lake. There was a lot of missing pieces in the midfield, specifically Brian Ojeda.
Yep. And we kind of just let off the gas at the end, right?
Yeah. And then you look at this one, and there's no Chicho Arango.
Absolutely.
Justin Glad's just coming back from an injury, so he had a rusty game. And so I would like to take on Colorado full strength.
Yeah, that'd be incredible. And with potentially a new DP. Who knows?
Who knows? But 3-2 loss in Colorado. The biggest thing from the goals, man. Fantastic from Andres Gomez to shoot from distance and sneak it past Zach Steffen. Again, I'm convinced Zach Steffen is washed.
Do you call that first goal sneaking?
No.
That rolled in slowly.
It was not a good shot.
And it was not a good attempt at a save by a goalkeeper.
No.
That was rough. I would be very upset if Zach Steffen was our goalkeeper.
From the old Zach Steffen, you don't really expect that, right?
No.
And we've had this conversation before in which, coming back to Major League Soccer, we thought was going to help Steffen, but I haven't seen it yet from Zach Steffen.
No, and I don't think we will. He has a decent, he doesn't even have a decent defense in front of him, but he has good defenders and a good team. But I feel like a lot of the goals he gives up are just soft.
Yeah.
Just soft as toilet paper, man. Downy Ultra is Zach Steffen.
You know what else was a poor goal to give away?
Yeah, the penalty.
We'll get there, but the first two.
Yeah. Yeah, no, they were our defense got bull rushed and couldn't handle it. In particular, Andrew Brody.
In that first one, Brian Vera caught out of position.
Mm-hmm.
Justin Glad's kind of caught in no man's land where you have to choose, or no, it was Brody who stuck in no man's land where you have to choose to go to the guy at the first post or go to the guy at the back post. Colorado decides to go to the guy at the back post. Jonathan Lewis all by himself. It was a good build-up. I'll give him that.
Tidy finish.
Good finish from Jonathan Lewis, but yeah, man, unfortunate defending from Real Salt Lake.
Yeah, just not good enough, right? It's a lot of what we've seen at times this year. We've seen a lot of great defending, but we've seen a lot of moments of just not good enough. And And I don't know what they need to do to rectify this, but it's kind of hurting us, man.
That's why I say Justin Glad came back and kind of had a rusty game, because I still think he needs to get back into the rhythm of commanding that defense.
Mm-hmm. I don't think it was a bad game by any means, but he definitely didn't have the aura about him.
Yeah, there you go.
One would say, yeah. I was trying to find the word; it was buried in there, but yeah.
Usually, Jay Glad comes out and he commands the defense. He leads it. He yells at them, make sure everybody's in position. And when you haven't played a game in, I want to, what, it was a month and a half, something like
It's a
that.
good chunk of time.
It feels like he was out for a really long time, honestly. And it's going to take him some time to get back to have that commanding status in the backline that we're used to seeing Justin Glad had. And I think that while the Glad Vera partnership is back, it's still going to take a minute for it to get back to what it was before the injury.
Yeah, and by a minute, it's like a game and a half. It's not going to take forever, but it was evident he had been gone for a while, which is unfortunate, but not as unfortunate as letting Colorado score 3.
Same thing on the second one, man. Andrew Brody gets caught being stuck between his attacker and the goal, chooses the wrong side. Sam Vines gets the better of him, and then all of a sudden, just like that, it's 2-1.
Very frustrating. All I can say is very frustrating, right? Like, I was trying to go to this game, and I'm sad I didn't. But had I driven all the way there for this game, I'm probably like, bruh, why'd I drive here? I mean, it just, again, very soft defending. Just,
yeah.
They were letting the Colorado players almost like shoulder check them, like take a charge almost, right? And like running through our players. And our guys just kind of let them do it. And yeah, it sucked.
Teams go into halftime 2-1, a long rain delay.
2 hours almost. Was it an hour, 57 minutes, something like that?
Yeah. But RSL comes back out for the second half following the delay, and they look good. They look good coming out of as they do, right? I can't remember a time where Rouse Lake came out of a rain delay like that and didn't look good. But as Rouse Lake does, they looked good, and within 4 minutes of starting that second half, Andres Gomez scores his second one. And we talked about it on the last show about how we felt like if Andres Gomez played, there was probably more goals in that one. And I think that just proves it. He comes back from suspension and he has a brace.
Yeah, he's such a breath of fresh air. It's crazy how we've gone from talking about like, oh man, we should probably get rid of Andres Gomez earlier this season to, God, I hope we don't get rid of Andres Gomez this season, right? So props to him, man. He's having himself a year, and I'm all about it.
Fantastic year from Andres Gomez. It's 2-2. Rouse Lake for a good part of that first, or a good part of that second half looked good. We're playing good. Mm-hmm. And then it felt like the game just kind of hit a lull where Colorado was doing Colorado things. They were getting forward, they were attacking, and then all of a sudden, late in the game, was it off a corner or was it a cross? Can't remember.
I can't remember either. I believe it was a corner.
Might have been a corner. Ball comes in, and Justin Glad goes up for a header. His arm is out, hits his elbow. VAR gets involved, and it's a penalty for Colorado.
Is there anything worse? Like taking a loss to Colorado is one thing, but losing on a 90th plus minute penalty kick on I know it's not a questionable handball because that's the rule, right? It touches your hand, it's a handball. But that one sucks because it bounces up into him. So like losing in that manner, it just stings more than it should.
Head coach Pablo Mastroeni said in the post-match presser that the more he's in this game and the more he's coaching, the less he knows what is and what is not a handball.
Yeah, it really, in that instance, the way that one happened by bouncing up into his hand, that's a 50-50 shot on basically whoever the referee is and what they're feeling like.
And I can't think of any specific moments off the top of my head at the moment, but we have seen it before. Maybe not just in Major League Soccer, but I'm talking just soccer, football in general, where those are not called.
No, not typically, but I don't know. I'm with Mascherano here. I don't know what I don't know what a handball is either. It's
Yeah,
just it's a crapshoot at this point.
we've seen some of them called and some of them not. And so all I'm asking for in this situation is consistency.
Yep.
Let's decide whether or not that's a handball because, like I said, I've seen instant Kukureya in the Euros.
Yeah.
Not called.
But it's a handball.
Yeah.
And the whole unnatural position thing to me, like homie's jumping, of course his hands are up in the air, So like, who's deciding what's a natural position and what's not? It's mind boggling, really. But it is what it is, and it's 1 point out of 9 for RSL, which
that's the worrisome part.
Yep, that's the issue for me.
That's that. Yep. Look, we talked about how difficult this stretch of games was going to be for RSL.
Mm-hmm.
Did I think that they were going to get 1.9? No.
I mean, 4, I could have been like, okay, I can see 4.
But even then, man, with how this team has been playing and how they've been, producing and getting points all season long, 4 is bad for them at this moment.
4 is very bad.
But, so now we're talking about 1.
Yeah. 1 is disastrous. 1 is what I was afraid of. I mean, the Portland one was bad. LAFC one was fine. And the Colorado one's really bad for me. But at least we're still in the playoff race, right?
Playoff race, yes. I think the
first place is out of the question now. I know things could happen, but let's be real.
It's harder now to attain, sure, but things can happen. Things will happen. You have the game in hand on LA Galaxy, which I think is probably the most important thing right now. And look, you just have to, you have 9 of the last 6 at home against
6 of the last 9.
Yeah, 6 of the last 9 at home.
You said 9 of the last 6, and I giggled.
My bad.
Sorry, I had to give you a hard time. Andy's not here to give a hard time to you, so I had to get after you for a second there.
You know what? It's fine. Call me out. It's fine.
But yeah, 6 home games out of the last 9.
Yes.
I mean, that should all be wins, no matter what. At this point, right? The rest of our schedule is fairly, I don't want to say easy because no schedule is easy, but it's not daunting in any way. They're all fairly weak teams or basement dwellers, like in terms of San Jose. And we have San Jose away still. So there's a lot of points up on the table for us to still go out and grab. The thing is now, though, we have to go out and get those points. There's no more slipping up. We've had our slip ups for the year. We've had our little bump in the road, and we have to move past it ASAP.
This has easily been the worst part of our RSL League season.
Isn't that crazy? Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
And it's only been 3 games, and like, oh, that's a bad start. Like, that's good sign, right? But let's stop that slide. Let's get Chicho back. Let's keep everyone healthy through Leagues Cup. Yeah, you're getting me now, right? So let's stay healthy through that, and then let's just get back to grinding with a healthy squad and a healthy Chicho, and finish out this year strong.
Taking a look real quick at the table before we move on. Sitting at the top is the LA Galaxy. Like I said, they got a game in hand with 49. The LAFC have a game in hand on us and 2 games in hand on the Galaxy with 47. And then in third, RSL Lake with 44. That gap that we talked about between third and fourth, it's no longer there. As Colorado now have 41 points, just 3 behind Real Salt Lake.
I'm still not too worried that they're going to pull too close. I think Colorado's going to Colorado. I'm going to knock on wood. But I'm not that impressed with that squad. And I know that's weird to say since they've beaten us twice this year, but I don't see consistency out of that squad. I see them consistently scoring goals, but not consistently defending, and that's really going to bite them in the stretch.
Of all the teams that are in a playoff position right now in the Western Conference, every team that is above or around Real Salt Lake is already out of the way. You do still play Vancouver, who's in 5th. You play Houston down the road, which is in 6th. On the road, who's in 6th. Seattle is out of the way. Portland, you still get Portland at home, and then you get Minnesota at home. So I'm not necessarily worried about teams under us catching up, especially, those home games. You should be winning the 6 home games that you have left. But I am concerned that first place spot is just slowly slipping away from Real Salt Lake.
Yeah, I've kind of already accepted the fact that it's slipped, right? And that's fine. It's fine. Let's just lock up that whole home playoff spot and just do our thing. First place would be cool, but it's not as cool as the Supporter Shield, right?
I would still like a second place finish.
Yeah, and I don't think that's out of the question.
Yeah.
I really don't. So,
and who knows, man? If LAFC start losing some games, we're right back in that conversation.
Right, or Giroux doesn't work out for him, or Peck gets hurt, right? There's still a lot of things that could happen, even to us. So there's a lot of season left, man. 9 doesn't sound like a lot, but it's a lot in MLS.
That's exactly what I was about to say. It doesn't seem like too much, but and then I think the worst part about it, bro, is the fact that we have to wait until late August to even have those conversations.
Yeah, so now we just have to see if the guys can perform in Leagues Cup.
Are you excited for Leagues Cup?
No, are you?
No, not really.
Yeah, I have no expectations. Does that make sense? Like, if we go out and do well, great. If we don't, rest and focus on the league. So, yeah, I really have no expectations for Leagues Cup. I hope it's entertaining. I think I might be a little jaded or have some PTSD from last year's League Cup with Pablo Ruiz. So, yeah, it is what it is. I'll be excited if we win some games, but if we go crashing out of the group stage or whatever, so be it.
And we'll get more in depth with Leagues Cups and, with the Atlas game coming up next week. But I want to talk about the new signing.
Yeah.
In Lachlan Brooks. Lachlan Brooks coming over from Sydney, Australia. He is a forward. He is a winger, mostly. Can play in the middle as well. 23 years old. Just the profile that Real Salt Lake is looking for.
Yes, sir. So I know a lot of people might be thinking, oh, this is our big DP signing. Alex, is this our big DP signing?
No.
I don't think so either. And I know it's not a DP, but I don't think this is the big signing of the summer.
No, it can't be.
Do you think, because we already brought in Benji Michel, right? Now we're bringing in another winger type player. Do you think this signals that someone might be on their way out the door?
No, not yet.
I don't think so either. I think, in my opinion, this is we're getting ready for that person to be out of the door a little later.
Yeah, absolutely. And you're giving him time to adapt, not only to the team, but you're giving him time to adapt to the league, right? He's not coming in and immediately replacing someone. I guess the argument can be made that he's coming in and replacing Fidel Barajas on that bench, but he's not going to take Luna's spot. He's not going to take Gomez's spot. But maybe down the line, if he becomes a really talented player for us and a really good player for us, who knows?
Yeah, and he could just be, a great player and automatically fill the shoes of a Gomez or Luna if they do leave. So it's just good to have depth off the bench, honestly, and I think this is a good depth piece for now.
Not only is he someone who can come in and replace those guys down the road, but man, this guy's. I'm watching his film, his highlights, and I'm looking at the type of player he is. He's incredibly dynamic, and he's got a pretty high ceiling. Spent some time in England on loan. Didn't necessarily work out for him. I think it was Crew Alexandra, right, in the League One,
Brentford,
and
then
Brentford.
They loaned him out to a couple other teams.
There you go. Has some good upside. Hoping that it can work out for him here in Major League Soccer.
Does it worry you that he's coming out of the A-League? Do you have any problem with us looking there?
No, I think there's some good untapped young talent in the A-League. Even on the women's side, right? You look at New Zealand player Macy Frazier, who just came over for the Utah Royals, and she's done a good job so far for the Utah Royals. And I'm imagining that Lachlan will come in and do something similar. Well, he'll come in and he'll be a good addition to the squad. And like I said, nice ceiling, high potential, incredibly dynamic. So he'll bring up a lot of speed off the bench. So it's going to be interesting to just see him kind of develop and get used to Major League Soccer.
Does this signing signal to you that Michael Chang's career with RSL is nearing an end?
Probably.
I think so too.
Probably.
He's got to be falling down the depth chart with Benji Michel and now Brook. Brooks or Brook? Is it Brooks?
Brook.
We need to get that. Well, not we, but RSL needs to capitalize and do a Brook and Crook show.
Yeah.
Some type of skits.
Don't give him any ideas.
Well, they can have that one.
That's all right.
They can have that one. Yeah.
Yeah, Lachlan Brook. And look, Michael, the thing with Michael is that he can also play in the middle.
Yeah.
So just like Lachlan, just like Benji, but you can solely focus on having Lachlan Brook and Benji Michel on the wings, and now you kind of have a 10, if you will, under Crooks.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see how it works out. I'm very curious. I hope he gets here sooner rather than later so we can get, eyes on him ASAP. I don't think he could be here for next Thursday. But I'm not going to hold my breath. But yeah, very exciting stuff. And, it's kind of nice to get an Aussie. I don't think we've had one before. And now I'm just kind of more excited for what's next. There was hints at 1 to 2 more signings, if I remember correctly.
Everybody who works for Major League Soccer, writers, bloggers, studio hosts, every one of them has said the same thing. And that is more is on the way.
I wish they'd just spill the beans already.
You look at Tom. Tom's been dropping hints. You look at Andrew Wiebe, who does the MLS 360 show, MLS wrap up and countdown shows as well for Apple TV. He's also dropping hints online saying that there's more on their way, and Rouse Lake is working on the big DP signing. So, even we talked about it last time. Just because the broadcast says that it was on the back burner, I'm going to trust Bogert, Wiebe, and MLS writers.
Yeah, the guys that know. What are the odds that it's James?
Oh yeah, that happened over the weekend.
He's a free agent, man. So there's no transfer fee. That makes it very enticing for me and feel a little more probable. But what are the odds? Because, in my head, there's no way we sign a player like that. But at the same time, I could totally see us doing it. So
the odds are probable.
Yeah.
Free agent, I think, solves a lot of issues as far as the money goes.
Mm-hmm.
However, this league is weird. There's always those weird rules.
Or who has his rights or whatever. Yeah.
Immediately, that's where my mind goes. Who has James Rodriguez's discovery rights? Because whoever has them is going to get first dibs at the swing at James Rodriguez.
I think they really need to do away with that. I get it with youth players, right, that they've identified out of their system.
Yeah.
But how do you claim rights on a guy you can literally everyone knows about, you watch on TV? Is it just the first guy to send an email and go dibs? How does this work? It's ridiculous.
Do you remember the crazy upstir that MLS caused people overseas when it came out that a team in Major League Soccer had the discovery rights for Andres Iniesta?
Right? He was playing. He wasn't playing before the league was founded, but he almost was.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous, dude. It does not make any sense to me. And I would love for someone way smarter than me to explain the reasoning and how that even happens. But I think it's a little ridiculous.
TAM and GAM and the weird money salary constructs, I get. But when it comes to the discovery right of a World Cup winner like Andres Iniesta,
Right.
I can't get behind that.
Or like, we have the discovery rights on Zlatan. Uh, okay. So you
That
just
part
like, I want to know how that happens.
doesn't make sense.
Drives
Doesn't
me nuts.
doesn't make sense. Back to Lachlan Brook. Good news is that Real Lake did include him on their Leagues Cup roster. There has to be a different roster and a different, submission to Leagues Cup to for who's going to be playing for you in the Leagues Cup. And Real Lake did include him in there. So we will probably will see him debut in Leagues Cup down the road. Don't necessarily think it'll be Atlas because of the processes and how long it takes. But hey, who knows? Maybe Houston.
And honestly, with the process, it may be speedier because of Australia.
Yeah.
So who knows, right? I don't know the obviously there's like the ITC, they have to file with FIFA and all that other stuff, but this one might go quicker than others. I kind of hope it does because kid looks exciting, man. His highlights are fun.
And he looks excited to be here.
That's always key.
Anytime you bring in a new signing, specifically to Salt Lake City, that's one of the things I get worried about.
Yeah.
But he looks excited to be here. He sounds incredibly happy to have the opportunity to come over to Major League Soccer. So we're happy to have him.
Absolutely.
Other players of note who made it onto that Leagues Cup roster, as far as like Monarchs players go, Xavier Gozo, Zach Farnsworth.
Wow.
We may or may not see him. And Haziel Orozco.
Ooh, I'm excited about that.
Haziel Orozco he played some minutes for the Monarchs over the weekend. So I think they're just working him on getting him back up to game speed since he hasn't played since May. And we might also see Hazi come back for RSL Lake in the Leagues Cup.
I would also love it if we just saw him become our third center back. I know he's not playing there anymore, but I just want to see more Hazi. I'm a big fan, so any way to get him on the field, I'm with. So glad to see him on the roster.
Everybody else on that Leagues Cup roster, pretty much what you would expect. So nothing too crazy popping out there. Fernando Delgado also made the list since Thomas Gomez is no longer part of RSL Lake.
Oh, I completely forgot about that.
Yeah.
Are you sad?
Did he play? No, he had one game against Atlas in the Leagues Cup.
Yeah. 2 years ago.
Yeah. when Aaron Herrera scored from about 70, 75 yards out.
What a job being the third guy up must be. You get none of the fanfare, none of the fame, but you're still going to be a professional soccer player. Hang out with professional athletes, go to games. It's weird, man. I guess he was technically number 3, but he's been number 3 for this entire year.
Yeah.
What a job. What a gig.
From what I've heard and from what I've been able to, gather, is he's a really good guy in the locker room. Does a lot to help Gavin kind of get accustomed to being a professional soccer player. So thank you, Thomas Gomez, for helping us with Gavin.
Absolutely. And you know what? I think I have a Thomas Gomez jersey. So it means a lot more to me now that he's no longer with us. I think once his loan's up, his contract might be up too. So I think that's the end of Thomas Gomez at RSL.
You have Fernando Delgado, who has been playing a lot for the Monarchs. Had a little bit of a loan spell in USL with Birmingham, I think it was. So who knows? Maybe Fernando's ready to make the jump.
Well, and if you remember when we talked with Ramondo at the Ultimate Sports Bash, he was talking very highly of Fernando Delgado. So
and Will McKay.
Yep. So it's good to see young keepers in the pipeline, and I think it's time to definitely start getting them ready, right, in the event Gavin Beavers is sold.
I think that puts a pin maybe in Beavers leaving us.
Yeah, I don't think he's leaving us in this transfer window.
Yeah.
But I do foresee him leaving eventually. And I think this move, to bring Delgado up is us preparing for that, right? Mm-hmm. It's the next guy up. It's the next academy player up kind of thing. So that's what this signals to me. Or it's a signal that McMath is going to retire and Delgado will be number 2 next year. Who knows? There's a lot of storylines you can spin in your head there. So
MLS All Stars.
do you
Justin,
care?
yeah. Let's start with that. Do you care?
Okay, this is going to sound rude, but like I care that our guys get voted onto the team, right? And we have representation, but I don't care about the result.
Well, and before we started recording, you mentioned that you watched the skills game, but you didn't watch the All-Star game.
Yeah, that's correct.
And I like that. I think the skills challenge, it's different. It's a breath of fresh air.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a game, but it is like competitive enough where it's like it's fun to watch. It's exciting to watch.
And everyone there's having fun, right? It reminds me of like, training sessions with my buddies growing up. And I think that's exciting and fun. I also think it's fun to see these individual skills put to the test, right? Like you would think Busquets would be really good at one thing and then it surprises you that he's not, but then he gets to the passing and you're like, damn, like that was incredible. So it's just kind of fun to see these guys, honing in their skills and doing different things rather than just running around for 90 minutes. And I don't want to say they don't give their all because I do feel like these MLS All-Star games and stuff like that, they do play pretty hard. But at the same time, they're not playing as hard as they normally would be, right? So I don't know. All-Star games, I just don't love them. I watched the extended highlights. I probably would have watched it had yesterday not been, the 24th and barbecues and stuff. But yeah, skills challenge, I'll watch that anytime over the All-Star game.
I will say my biggest gripe with the skills challenge is the goalie wars. I want to see the actual goalies do it, not just the next pro goalies.
Yeah, and I hate that it starts at a semifinal.
Yeah.
And they get 1 minute and a half round. You know what I mean? I would like to see more groups of players in the skill challenge. Maybe having 2 shooters go, 2 goals side by side or something like that, and kind of speed through it, or do, they have to run and do different stations with a pass and then a shot. I don't know. There's ways they could do some variation that I would like a lot more, but I do think the goalie wars, I absolutely love it. I wish there was more of it and some better, like, top, like Hugo Lloris versus Gavin Beavers, just throwing that out there. But yeah, I would like to see more of it instead of, it was essentially 3 rounds.
Yeah.
You had your 2 semifinal rounds and then the final, and it's 1 minute and 40 seconds or whatever it was. So it's over before it even begins. And that's kind of a buzzkill, but I do love it.
The idea of it is super cool. And, I just think it would be better if Roman Berkey was going up against Hugo Lloris,
Yeah, that'd be incredible. It'd be absolutely incredible.
That'd be so much fun.
Goalkeeper wars, if done correctly, it was my favorite thing to do in training. I absolutely loved it. And I could see it being an Olympic sport by itself because it's so cool and so fun. So let's get after it some more, MLS.
Yeah. As soon as, I flipped on the TV, saw that it was like the next pro goalies, and I was like, who cares?
Yeah. And
no
like
offense.
One of them has his like social media handle on his shirt. It's just kind of like, And then like I'm a big fan of fake wrestling, right? WWE. But to have like the WWE superstars there, like to hand them a belt, that just felt weird to me. I didn't love that. But, whatever. Teach their own.
Skill challenge. Overall, thumbs up. Josh's stamp of approval. For the actual All-Star game, I didn't watch.
Yeah, I just watched the extended highlights and we got throttled.
Yeah.
Yeah. It is what it is.
Unfortunate. I mean, hey, they're competitive. They want to win. But I don't know, man. Liga MX All-Stars just doesn't get me excited. What got me excited was like the Bayern Munichs, the Evertons, the Juventus. Who else? The Arsenals.
Manchester United's.
But even that.
I would like to see East versus West.
Yeah, there you go.
West.
Yeah.
Like everyone else does, right? There's so many teams coming to the States now for like summer friendlies. You don't need another League's All-Stars. You don't need to play another team. Just do East versus West. put up make it like baseball. Home field advantage goes to whoever wins the All-Star game in the playoffs. I think that's a fun rule, right? So I think it needs a bit of a revamp because I don't love the current situation.
Yeah, and I love that you bring that up. You brought up a really, really good point there. They played the Liga MX All-Stars, and then you have all the Liga MX teams in the United States for the next month competing in Leagues Cup.
Yeah, so it's like I guess you get a good look at some of the guys you're up against, I guess.
It's a bit redundant.
It's very redundant.
Yeah.
I would just, like I said, much rather see, the best 11 from the West versus the best 11 in the East and go for bragging rights in the league.
That, and you'd be able to get more players in the league who probably deserve to be there.
Yes, more players get the recognition they deserve, right? If that's the way it was, Andres Gomez is on that team. Diego Luna was never off that team.
Yeah.
He was never needed to bring it. We would have had 4 All-Stars, right off the bat. And potentially 5 with Ojeda or Anelli.
Yeah.
So, oh well.
MLS, do something about the All-Star game.
Yeah, Don Garber, you listening? Do something.
Speaking of which, Don Garber
Don Garber
had a lot to say about Real Salt Lake over the All-Stars.
Yes, he did. It was all positive, and I love that.
All positive. Did call us a small market a few times, which I didn't like, but
he's not wrong.
To each their own.
We're a small market, Alex. It's okay. He also called Columbus and Cincinnati a small market. It's not that big of a front.
Yes, that is true. That is true. Had a lot of good things to say about Real Lake. A lot of good things about ownership, which is a fresh of breath there, considering what happened, 3 years ago, 4 years ago, however long it was. And you're seeing it. You're seeing it with stadium upgrades. You're seeing it with the team that is playing right now in RSL. They're heading in the right direction, man.
Yeah. It's going to take a lot to really make this team implode. Obviously, we're going to have rebuild phases. But I feel like in the direction they're going now, they're actively building for those rebuild phases, so we kind of can skip them, right? You're always going to have a gap or two in the positions where you have to upgrade, but we're setting ourselves up right for a while. I don't think this is like a peak year for RSL, if that makes sense, right? It's not you have to win it now or this run of this group is over.
Yeah. I think ownership is doing a really good job of doing something that Deloitte never did, and that was youth.
Yeah. And selling youth.
The youth movement is alive and well for Real Salt Lake.
Absolutely. And I hope we see some more, right? I know Farnsworth is still sniffing around there. I don't consider him youth anymore. But you have guys like Delgado, like Gozo, Beavers. There's a lot of potential in these guys.
Jude.
Yeah. Which we don't hear enough about him, right? But kid has a lot of potential. Yep. He's good.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Last thing I want to throw in here about All-Stars is Don Garber also said that Chicho was an excellent player. Yeah.
Think Don's mad that he was suspended?
Probably.
I bet you he is too. He's probably like, guys, you're killing it. Just kidding. He's happy.
No, he was probably upset, especially after Messi and Suarez both unavailable because they're injured.
Yeah. Well, and even just for RSL's regular season, right? As a commissioner, you want the strongest teams out there putting out the best product. So he's probably not happy that, Chicho's not playing for RSL and kind of knocking us down a couple pegs.
I thought it was interesting that he singled out Chicho in the press.
Yeah, that is kind of weird. It's like, you trying to make him feel better? Like, is he mad at you? What's going on here? I'm definitely reading into that too much.
And both Glad and Luna got to obviously, got some minutes in the All-Star game. They both got to play. Yeah, Luna got subbed in. Jay Glad got the start, which I thought was super cool. It got subbed out in the 45th, but Luna got subbed in. Didn't really do much, but I don't think that's necessarily, a Glad or a Luna thing. I think that's just All-Star struggled this year.
I mean, it's just being an all-star, right? You're playing with guys you've never played with before in a lot of instances. So there's no cohesion. There's no chemistry. You're just kind of playing your exact position. You really can't expect much out of someone in an all-star game, in my opinion.
I will say the one positive is Justin Glad, coming back from injury. It's good to get some minutes, some game minutes under his belt.
Right. It'll help with that sharpness we were talking about earlier.
Let's take a look around real quick. The rest of Major League Soccer. Throw out some scores from this past weekend. Atlanta United with a 2-1 win over Columbus.
That's surprising.
That is surprising. Toronto with a 1-0 win over Montreal. Inter Miami with a 2-1 win over Chicago. New England with a 1-1 draw against FC Dallas. Red
Bobby
Bulls.
Wood scored in that one.
Oh, did he?
He did.
I forgot about him. Oh, it went down as an own goal.
Bummer. Well, he was the one celebrating, okay?
Went down as an own goal. Let's clarify that real quick. Not a Bobby Wood goal. It's an own goal. New York Red Bulls 3-1 over Cincinnati. Orlando with a 1-1 draw with New York City FC. Philadelphia with a win over Nashville, 3-0. Austin FC with the 2-2 draw to Charlotte. Minnesota with the 2-0 win over San Jose. Sporting KC leveled with St. Louis City 1-1. Colorado Rapids beating Real Salt Lake 3-2. LAFC with a 3-0 win over the Seattle Sounders. Houston in an absolutely wild match, 3-4 over Vancouver. Houston was up 2-0 in that one at the break. Fafa Picoult comes and scores a brace. Veselinovic gets a goal as well. It's 3-2 Vancouver leads. And then Brad Smith in the 78th with Griffin Dorsey in the 87th. Wild game there in Vancouver. LA Galaxy with a 3-2 win over Portland, which means that Inter Miami won, and everybody else near the top, well, and I guess LAFC, but everybody else that was close to Inter Miami in the supporter shields.
Slipping. Yeah. Slipping away.
Inter Miami's pulling away.
It's fine. Let them have that supporter shield. Let's play them in the MLS Cup final. Watch Ojeda work Messi. Chicho score a double hat trick. It'll be fine. Everything will be fine. We'll win the World Cup.
Would you rather, I'm going to throw this out there. Would you rather take on Lionel Messi and Inter Miami in a Leagues Cup final, or Inter Miami and Lionel Messi in MLS Cup final?
That's a really tough one. Probably Leagues Cup.
Really?
Well, no. I'm taking that back.
I'm going MLS Cup.
Yeah, me too. Yeah. I think there's more eyes on that, and it's a bigger deal to me. Yeah, I'm going MLS Cup because if your team could take down Messi and his Barcelona boys in the MLS Cup final, legends forever.
Best team in RSL history.
Period. Right? Yeah. So, yeah, I'm going MLS Cup final.
I agree. All right, Josh, anything else you want to add, throw in here before we call it a wrap? It's a short one today as RSL's on a bye this week, but anything else you want to throw in there?
Just take your antidepressants if you need it to get over this Colorado loss. Let's just enjoy our weekend off of MLS soccer and look forward as much as you can to Leagues Cup.
And with that, we'll say goodbye here on the RSL Show on the KSL Sports Network. Make sure to go follow, subscribe, go hit us up on social medias. And hey, let us know how we're doing. We haven't heard from you guys in a while. Let us know if let us know what you want to hear.
Let us know if you miss Andy.
That too. Thank you for listening to the RSL Show on the KSL Sports Network.